In the heart of eternity, when the skies still trembled with the echoes of creation, a radiant figure descended, carrying not a sword, but a message that could outshine the sun. His wings caught the light of ages, his voice rolled like distant thunder, and in his hands he held what no force of darkness could silence, the eternal gospel. This was no ordinary angel. This was a messenger whose words could pierce time itself. Welcome to Divine War Stories, where we uncover the battles beyond human sight, wars of light and shadow, of heaven's armies and the strategies of the unseen. Here, every story is more than history, it's a call to understand the eternal struggle and the victory promised from the beginning of time. Subscribe and let your spirit awaken to the battles that shape eternity. He stood upon the horizon of the world, where heaven's gold met the blue of the seas, his presence bending the air like heat over a summer field. The angel's eyes held the weight of endless ages, yet burned with a fierce hope as if he had just been given the message. Every step he took seemed to ripple through the fabric of time itself, as if earth could feel the arrival of something it had long forgotten. The eternal gospel was not written on parchment, nor carved in stone, but pulsed alive within him. It was a truth that never aged, a promise that had no cracks, a fire that no wind could extinguish. Nations would hear, kingdoms would rise or fall, and the hearts of men would be laid bare before its light. The first sound from his mouth was not speech but a tone, deep and resonant, like the vibration of the earth before a quake. The birds in the air stilled mid-flight, the waves slowed as if waiting for permission to break again. "Fear God," his voice began, "and give him glory, for the hour of his judgment has come." It wasn't a threat, it was an awakening. Every syllable seemed to travel through flesh, bone and soul, reaching places no human thought could go. Those who heard felt both an urge to bow and a need to run toward that voice, as though it carried the scent of home in a world long lost. Crowds gathered from cities and deserts alike, drawn by the sound that moved faster than rumor, stronger than wind. No walls could keep it out, no empire could silence it. The angel spoke of a creator who shaped the mountains with a whisper and weighed the oceans in the hollow of his hand. He spoke of a love so fierce it would not abandon its creation even when rebellion spread like a sickness through the human heart. The eternal gospel was not an escape from reality, it was reality breaking into the shadows, tearing away the false skies men had painted above themselves. Some trembled, not because of the angel's majesty, but because the words stripped away the illusions they had worn for years. Kings felt small, merchants felt empty, and warriors felt fragile under the gaze of heaven's truth. The eternal gospel revealed the true map of history, one that showed the rise and fall of empires not as accidents, but as the movements of an unseen hand guiding the course of time toward a final chapter. This was a story bigger than any crown, stronger than any army, and it had been written before the first star was lit. But not all welcomed it. Among the listeners were those whose power depended on keeping the world asleep. They whispered to each other in panic, their eyes darting like hunted animals. They could feel the angel's words shaking the foundations of their kingdoms built on fear and lies. The eternal gospel was a sword that did not cut flesh but separated truth from deceit, exposing the fragile scaffolding of human pride. And yet, even those who resisted could not unhear it. The seed had been planted, and heaven's rain would fall in its time. In the marketplace, an old woman lifted her head, tears streaming down her weathered face as the angel spoke of a shepherd who had not forgotten even the weakest of his sheep. A child, clutching a piece of bread, looked at the glowing figure as if he recognized him from a dream. The angel's presence erased the division between rich and poor, free and slave, powerful and powerless. All were equal before the weight of the eternal gospel. The ground itself seemed to hum under their feet, as if creation was rejoicing that the truth was being spoken aloud again. The angel's wings did not simply move with the wind, they commanded it. Each feather shimmered with colors not found in human language, hues that seemed to tell their own stories of battles fought and won in realms unseen. His voice carried the gravity of judgment, but also the gentleness of a healer's hands. It was the perfect balance of power and mercy, like a storm that brings both thunder and rain to heal the earth. Every listener knew this was not a message of doom, but of decision, a chance to turn before the night closed in. Travelers from distant lands took the news back to their people, their voices carrying an echo of the angel's power. It spread faster than merchants' goods, faster than soldiers could march, faster even than fear itself. This was not propaganda. This was not rumor. This was the eternal gospel, and it belonged to no kingdom but heaven's. Wherever it went, it lit fires in the hearts of the weary and cracked the armor of the arrogant. It was the kind of news you could not simply forget. It demanded an answer. In the nights that followed, dreams were filled with visions of the angel's eyes, his words replaying with a clarity no human memory could produce. Farmers awoke with tears on their cheeks, merchants found themselves questioning the fairness of their scales, rulers stared into the dark wondering if their thrones were worth the price of their souls. The eternal gospel was not confined to daylight, it chased men into their sleep, urging them toward a choice that would shape their eternity. Still, the angel did not stay in one place. His mission was to touch every nation, every tongue, every tribe. He moved like lightning across the horizon, leaving behind not ruins but hope. Some tried to follow him physically, but they found that it was not his steps they needed to chase, it was the message he carried. And so, the eternal gospel began to weave itself into songs, into prayers, into whispered confessions under starlit skies. The world would never be the same again. If you are enjoying this video, please like, subscribe and hit the notification bell to help this channel reach more people. Now let's continue. The angel crossed mountain ranges where the air was thin and silence ruled, yet even there the eternal gospel rang clear. Shepherds paused mid-step, their flocks gathering close as if they too sensed the gravity of his words. In valleys shadowed by centuries of bloodshed, the message broke through like dawn after a long winter. This was not a gospel bound to comfort zones. It sought the broken, the forgotten, the outcasts hiding in caves of despair. And wherever it touched, it left behind a strange mixture of trembling and joy, the trembling of a soul seeing its own truth, and the joy of knowing it was still loved beyond measure. The angel's message was not just for the devout or the curious. It was for kings who thought themselves untouchable, and for thieves who thought themselves beyond redemption. To the rulers, it was a reminder that crowns are borrowed and thrones are temporary. To the broken, it was a lifeline that said, "You are not too far gone." The eternal gospel broke every human category, shattering the idea that some were too high to need saving and others too low to deserve it. It pulled everyone onto the same ground before the Creator who made them. In the city gates, skeptics debated in circles, trying to explain away the events with logic, politics, or rumor. But for every argument they crafted, there was a story they could not silence. A man healed from bitterness, a family reconciled after decades, a heart that found peace for the first time. The eternal gospel did not need defending. It defended itself by transforming lives. The angel did not argue. He simply moved on, carrying the message to the next place, knowing the seed would grow without him standing guard over it. On the shores of distant seas, fishermen dropped their nets mid-haul, eyes fixed on the horizon where light seemed to dance unnaturally. The angel appeared not with fanfare, but with the quiet authority of one who has seen the beginning and knows the end. He spoke again of the Creator's worthiness to be worshipped, of the urgency to turn while there was still time. The eternal gospel was like the tide, unstoppable, returning again and again, reshaping the coastline of human hearts with every wave. Children were the quickest to believe. Perhaps it was because they had fewer walls to tear down. They listened wide-eyed, their small hands gripping each other, their laughter mixing with the solemnity of the message in a way only children could manage. They carried the news home, often with more conviction than the adults who heard it. And in their innocence, the eternal gospel found fertile ground, for their faith did not need convincing. It only needed the truth to be spoken. The angel's journey was relentless, as if he could hear the ticking of a cosmic clock no one else could perceive. Storms tried to block his path, yet parted as if commanded by the one who sent him. Darkness gathered in some places, whispering lies to drown out the truth, but the eternal gospel sliced through the shadows like a blade of pure light. Every word spoken seemed to carry the weight of finality, as if this was not merely a warning but the last call before a door closed forever. In the high towers of powerful cities, leaders listened in private chambers, their faces hidden behind curtains so no one would see their uncertainty. They feared losing their grip on the people, yet could not deny the pull of the message. The eternal gospel was dangerous to those who built empires on human pride, for it reminded the world that the true king already reigned, and his kingdom would not pass away. Some turned, surrendering quietly in the privacy of their rooms. Others doubled down, determined to silence what they could not control. The angel never asked for temples to be built in his honor, nor did he linger for praise. He was only a voice, a vessel for a message older than the stars. The glory belonged to the one who authored it, the one who had been patient for centuries, calling humanity back to himself. The eternal gospel was not about the messenger. It was about the king whose love had endured rebellion, whose justice was about to set all things right. And with every step, the angel drew the world closer to that moment. As he reached the last of the nations, the angel's light seemed even brighter, as if the message itself was completing its circuit around the globe. Those who had heard from afar now saw him with their own eyes, and the weight of his presence left them speechless. The eternal gospel was no longer just a story carried by others. It was here, in their midst, demanding an answer. And though the angel's mission would end, the message would not. It would live on in every heart that had been set ablaze by it. And so, the angel lifted his face toward the heavens, his wings unfurling wide as a great wind surged around him. He had done what he was sent to do. The eternal gospel had touched every tribe, language, and people. The choice now lay with humanity. Some would run toward the light, others would hide in the shadows. But no one could say they had not heard. As he rose into the sky, the air shimmered with the echo of his voice, a final invitation, "Come." And in that word was the weight of eternity. If this story stirred you, let it move you deeper. Subscribe to Divine War Stories, and let's journey together through the battles that shape forever.